First of all, where are you located? Are you all from Canada? If you're from the US, maybe you can identify yourself or even other countries. All right, excellent. So usually even with just a few people, um, you know, we usually have 1/3 of the audience coming from the US or South America, and sometimes Europe. Um, Great. So it's global. Even for a small meeting like this, we have participants from everywhere. I think now the economy is global. I think and anything that happened in one place can affect everybody. We pay attention to the economy, we pay attention to the job market. And if you are still in the middle of the process of getting a job or maybe getting a better job, or if you are about to graduate mid this year, you are also looking, um, what kind of opportunities are out there, how competitive it is. So second question is, are you recent grads or experienced career switchers? I think it's easier, maybe easier just to type one or two. If you're recent grads, you can type one. If you are experienced career switchers, you type two. Okay, great. So we have half. Right. Yeah, we have once again, we always have a mix of recent grads and experienced professionals. And experienced professional who decide to change lanes. And I want to assure you, changing lane is always a good idea. If you most of you have had experience driving on the highway. Changing lane most of the time is a good idea because you can go faster, you can achieve your goal sooner. Even for recent grads, doesn't matter what you study in school, you still need to face the reality, uh, what are the jobs out there, what does it take? I've heard people say it's really difficult to sell what you have, to hard sell what you have. It's much easier to build what you can sell, right? So we need to respect the market and we need to put the spotlight not on yourself, but on the employer and their needs and wants and requirements. What kind of people they're looking for, what kind of skills, what kind of experience, and they're looking for. Okay. Um, we narrowed down the discussion to the data stage and the data jobs, data rows. The third question is, what resources do you use to train yourself? Once again, it might be easier if you can put multiple, you can put one or just one, or it could be a one and two and three, or maybe two and three. Book camps, MOOCs, or degree or continuing education programs at colleges and university. Great. Okay. So this is the thing. I'm not trying to sell you the book camp. I just want you to know the reality. 10 years ago, maybe longer, when data jobs became hot, if you, oh, MOOC is massive online courses. Yeah, it's basically Udemy, Coursera, you know, this kind of uh, resources provided by the those providers online. So 10 or 15 years ago, it could be enough, just take a few courses online from Google, from IBM. Some are free and others probably real cheap. And then I try to join some community like Kaggle or GitHub and do a few online projects using public data. That could be enough. But nowadays, when you have more candidates chasing just a few jobs, the employers have the luxury to select from many, many candidates. They obviously raise the bar, and it's not enough. You just take some online courses and do a Kaggle project, and sometimes the students or candidates they wonder, why I cannot get a job. That's probably the reason, because other people will do more, and they will join boot camps, and they will do real-time project. So they become more competitive, and they could also become more expressive by working with mentors. So I'm going to talk about mentor a little after. And then question number 4 is, what's your background? Is it FABE or STEM? FABE. I use FABE to stand for Finance, Accounting, Business, and Economics. Or STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. And others could be in languages, could be humanity. You can type 1 or 2. Okay, so 2 of you are actually from STEM. And okay, Hao-Yan from FABE. You probably have the misconception that the students from the STEM background can think logically and can code better, and they're more suitable for data jobs. And if that's what you think, it's not entirely true. For Hao-Yan, you come from a FABE background. You may need to work harder, on coding, and you may think logic is not my thing. But I tell you, logic is not that hard either. I also want to talk about your strengths. So if you're a general business major, you actually understand business better, and you always have the big picture. You never lose sight of it. And before you do anything, you usually have a better sense of purpose. And that is actually very, very important. Whereas I'm not saying, Nicholas or Michelle, you're like that, but this is the kind of generalization I want to make, because the past students we had coming from STEM background, they do a great job if you provide a clear instruction with clarity, and they can do it really, really well. However, you oftentimes don't have the big picture, and you lack a sense of purpose. And sometimes you will do stuff, but you don't know, or you don't question, why are we doing what we are doing, And there's another thing. So for business majors, after they find the trends, patterns, and relationships, and after they find the insight from data, they often do a better job communicating that insight, back to the business stakeholders. So I think you feel more comfortable talking to the people from non-technical background at all levels. So to be senior executives, could be VPs, could be managers, or could be employees. So that said, I hope all of you realize nobody's perfect, no one is cut out for this data role, but everybody has your unique set of strengths and weaknesses. And what we need to do is to play up our strengths and then contain our weakness. So for STAN majors, and you will need to work on business analysis and also communication. And for FABE majors, you will need to work on data analysis and work harder, put more time on programming and coding exercises. Okay, so the next questions are about the tools. So I'm going to talk about the tools first and then the project, okay? And so the tools, I listed 5 tools: Excel, SQL, Python, Tableau, and Power BI. What are the most tested tools? So what are the tools that got tested the most often by employer? You can type the word now. It's easier. You can just type Excel, SQL. You can type multiple if you want. Let's see if your understanding is actually in line with the reality. Excel, Python, yeah. 2, 3, 5. So that's SQL, Python, Power BI. Yep. Okay. Okay. So believe it or not, Excel is still important. A lot of times I have seen this in private sector and the public sector, government jobs, or in various industries. A lot of hiring managers, they still like to give you a test and give you a test with a data set, and they just ask you to use Excel to solve the problem and present your solution. So Excel is very convenient, and it's really good to handle small data. And it's also something most managers think they can handle, right? And SQL is actually number 1, the most tested tool by employers. And it's quite common for the employers to give you a couple, SQL problems, and they either ask you to code live in front of them. That's the most challenging, and it's nerve-wracking. And sometimes they give you the test and ask you to turn around maybe in 2 hours, and sometimes they give you more time, maybe a day or maybe 48 hours, 2 days. But the second most tested tool is actually Power BI. Could be Excel or Power BI. So between Tableau and Power BI, Power BI is definitely more popular because Microsoft is behind it. Oh, just give me a second. Let me just close the door. All right, I'm back. Okay, so Power BI is extremely powerful compared to Tableau. Number 1, it's part of the Microsoft ecosystem, and it works almost seamlessly with SQL Server, with Office 365, with Power Automate, right? And not only that, Power BI as a tool by itself is powerful because it has multiple things under its hood. Number 1, it has a built-in ETL tool called Power Query Editor. You can use it to clean up data and to handle a lot of data issues. And it's fully documented, and that's something you never saw, right, in the past. And it's interesting that same tool is also available within Excel. And many people don't use it within Excel. So if you don't have Power BI, you can still use Power Query Editor, even Power Pivot within Excel to build a data model. So the second powerful thing in Power BI is data modeling. And the third is DAX, DAX, and data analysis expression. Tableau produces beautiful visual, but in terms of functionality, I think it's still limited compared to Power BI. But it's number two, and Salesforce is behind Tableau. Salesforce is huge, is also big. So to be honest, these 5 tools you all need to learn, but it's important for you to prioritize them. So SQL is number 1, and Power BI number 2, Excel or Power BI number 2, and then Tableau number 4, and Python the last. Not that Python is not important. Python is actually quite important, and Python is the best for you to handle the world's data from the internet, and oftentimes the unstructured data. But if majority of your work is to work with internal data, internal data is structured as SQL database, and then you can tell why SQL is more important, for data analysts or maybe business intelligence roles. Okay, I hope you get that. Number 6. So I actually want to ask you a question before number 6. What is more important, tools and project? If you have to choose, what's more important, tools or project? We just have a few people. You can just yell out. Yeah, project, absolutely. So just remember what I said. Don't take tool-based training. Take project-based training. Don't take skill-based training. Take role-based training. Role-based, because end of the day, you will have to understand how to use the tool to solve real problems. And the real world problems is basically the project. It's work, it's the working environment, and it's also the work relationships, and it gives you a lot of context. And you you understand the job, by the context. And what's more important, if you try to learn the tool first, there's so much to learn, it's impossible, and it's also unnecessary to learn everything, right? Even Excel, nobody can say they know 100% all the features of Excel. So then it's extremely difficult, but important to decide what to learn, right? So for most tools, you only need to learn 20% essential features that are required to perform a role, to perform this job. So I'm strongly against skill or tool-based training. I'm in favor of role-based or project-based training, okay? And in fact, if you try to learn the tools without context, it's so easy to forget. You try to learn more, but you keep forgetting. The only way for you to anchor that knowledge, to anchor that skill, is by doing project. Okay, and project also gives you a lot of context, so you can tell a good story, even including the challenges and the frustrations and the emotions. And not everything is pleasant, but in terms of interview, they are the best material for you to tell an amazing story. But in fact, that's how you understand each other. That's how you click with the employer. Because when you talk about the challenges and frustrations, all of a sudden they say, "Oh, you understand us. You understand, the challenges of this job," and that moment, It allows you to connect with the employer. Okay, so it's important for you to do project, and I encourage you to really explore, if not all the industries, but some of the most important industries with the most jobs. So CRM, digital marketing, retail, e-commerce, supply chain. In fact, if you look at the first four, they are related, right? Traditional CRM marketing campaign, this is marketing too, and marketing, sales and service, right? And digital marketing, that's digital, that's social media, that's display, that's website, uh, that's email, right? And retail e-commerce, and there's no e-commerce without supply chain. So all these have to work together, you know, to um, to enable the business to create values and deliver that value to the customers. And then some of you probably uh, have interest in fintech, risk management, real estate, energy, human resources, and financial planning, and healthcare. You notice that some of these are industry, but some of these are functional areas. Okay, so for instance, HR is not for one industry, for any industry, in fact, for any organization, public and private sector, you have the HR function, right? But in any given industry, you also have lots of jobs related to that industry. Okay, so you can attach the analyst to almost all the words over here, and then you will find a job. You will see a job title. So it could be healthcare analyst, it could be human resources analyst, FP&A analyst, could be a supply chain analyst, right? Okay, so number 7, what are the best way to identify data talents? What do you think? Resume, portfolio, coding test, case interview, HR screening interview, hiring manager interview. You know, these are the things we'll have to go through. Portfolio. Excellent. What else? How about coding tests? And how about resume? Everybody has a resume, but you have a resume and portfolio. And I think that will make you stand out. And it is true. Nowadays, resume is not enough. And portfolio is a lot more convincing, right? So portfolio will help you to convince the hiring manager, to convince the employer to give you that opportunity. So in a bit, I will show you what a good resume look like, and what a good portfolio look like. Okay, and obviously there will be interviews and all kinds of interviews. The coding test, case interview. You know, this could be one kind of interview, which is technical interview, right? And HR screening interview. This is another type of interview. It's for screening to shortlist maybe 300 candidates down to 30, maybe 5, right? Hiring manager interview is definitely not the first round. So it could be the second or the third or the final. So that could be a combination of business behavior and technical interview, right? But you will have to go through all of this. So you use a resume to get interview, right? And you use a portfolio to, I don't know, to as a reliable indicator to change their mind. And coding tests and case interview that demonstrate your skill, and HR screening interview. This is the basic stuff. You just have to pass this in order to, otherwise you don't get to see the hiring manager at all. Okay, so we have a question. Can a GitHub account be considered a portfolio? Yes, absolutely. You can use GitHub, so you don't have to build your personal website to host it. In fact, I'm going to show you what a portfolio could look like. You can use Notion, you can use other tools. The last one, which steps of job search process do you need help? Do you think you need help? And if it's hard to type, you can still type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Altogether, we have 8. So it could be multiple. 6. So that's job networking and referral to get interview, right? It's hard to get interview. That's where you think you need help. What else? One, four, five, six. So that's career positioning, what role in what industry. 4, that's portfolio building. And 5, that's once again job searching and analysis. And 6, so that's job networking and referral. So that's to get more interviews, which is true. Even number 2, testing and certification. Some people are big fans of certification because that's another way to build your credibility. But personally, I'm not a big fan of certification. I'm a big fan of portfolio building. I think portfolio is a more reliable indicator of your success. Okay, so with that, let me check the time. So we're already half an hour. So I'm going to show you a good resume. This is considered a good resume. I hope you can see it. It's quite neat, right? It's neat. It's one page, and everything fit into one page. So most people are familiar with the structure of the resume, and essentially your name and contact details, so your name, and then skills section and experience and education. That's it. Name, skills, experience, education. Okay. And name is simple. There's nothing fancy about it, but I still want to point out, email, phone, and then portfolio website. Okay, so 3. And you don't need to write email. People can tell this is the email. So you need to save that valuable space for something else important. This is phone number, people can tell. And this is a URL link. And people can also tell this is a portfolio website. Okay, that's that. Why do we push skills all the way up to the top? This is actually really, really important. If the reader of your resume have only 10 seconds to spare, you want them to go through these bullets. Okay, so skills normally include hard and soft skills. And because data jobs are technical, so you should include more hard skills, but don't forget soft skills. So hard skills before soft skills. And Zoe included 8 bullets. I encourage every one of you to include 6 to 8 bullets, 6 to 8 bullet points. What kind of bullets? Silver bullets? I want you to remember the best combination is business, data, communication. Once again, business, data, communication. If you're taking notes, please write down business, data, communication. And it's really hard to find the candidate with all 3, but you want to get that message across. And you are the rare find. There's one way to make yourself look valuable. You need to make yourself look very rare. It's very rare to find somebody with all 3. So business and data and communication. And you can tell by the bolded, category, right? Business analysis, business domain knowledge. Without reading the details, you already see that message across. Business analysis, business domain knowledge. What about data? There's database system, data visualization and storytelling. Yeah. And programming, this is data programming, right? It's different from application programming. That's also data. Advanced Excel, most people probably don't need this bullet. But this is Zoe. She's super good with Excel, so she chose to include it. And it's the third bullet, Advanced Excel. And if you come from a strong math and statistics background, you may want to put statistics and machine learning. You don't need to be a data science major to have this bullet, right? Once again, data science, data analytics, they overlap a little bit, right? So you can include, if you don't have that background, it's fine. You don't have to include it, right? And then project management, I think it's soft skill, okay? Any question on this part? Skills, super important. Just remember, at a very high level, business data communication. Business data communication. So if we want to look at business analysis, this is actually super important. This is what I said business majors are very good at, and STEM majors are not necessarily good at this. It's extremely important before you work on any project, you want to clarify the question and validate assumption, and just make sure in the next 4 hours or maybe 1 week, you work on the right problem. And that's important, isn't it? Otherwise, you don't quite get it, and then you just start coding, you start programming, just get busy. You know what? You're going nowhere really, really fast. That doesn't really help, right? So clarify question, validate assumption, then turn business questions into SQL queries and define KPIs to measure success, to measure business health and performance. I think everybody understands this. And the most important thing is the writing block on your resume, it needs to be understood by non-technical readers. For instance, HR, they're not technical. So you can't just include all the technical terms and jargons. So for this sentence, I think most people get it, right? Business domain knowledge, and once again, business people, they understand. CRM, customer segmentation, product recommendation, and customer segmentation first, right? And then you recommend the right product for the right customer, product recommendation, and then digital marketing. You probably noticed that. And for every important key phrases, I put something within the bracket. So this is something specific, in that area. For instance, customer segmentation, one methodology is called RFM, recency, frequency, and monitoring. You can actually calculate 3 scores: recency score, frequency score, and monetary score. Okay, and product recommendation, market basket analysis is also a good methodology because people purchase things in bundle. So if somebody already purchased A, there is a strong correlation between A and B, and you should recommend B. Okay, or somebody purchased X, you should recommend Y and Z, right? And then digital marketing, marketing attribution is very, very important. like someone said 100 years ago, I know half of my money spent on marketing is wasted. I just don't know which half. So that's a problem in the area of marketing attribution. If you can solve that problem, if you can help the CMO and the marketing team to achieve a higher degree of accuracy, targeting the right people with the right product at the right place at the right time, you'll go, you will be good. No one will pay you anything, right, to get it right. Okay, any questions so far? So this is business and data, the same thing. For instance, I put SQL and Python, so two programming tools, remember? 5 tools, right? But for SQL, I don't just put SQL because everybody just puts SQL on their resume, even the students in the first year of university. And they will put every single data tool they can think of on the resume. How can you stand out? You just have to be specific. So for SQL, you mentioned 3 advanced features: complex join, nested query, window functions. Just so people look at this resume, they think Zoe is a senior. And whereas some other people who mention just SQL, they're a junior. Okay. So it's important for you to really be specific. And it's extremely hard to choose just 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 things and to give people an impression that you're an advanced user, you're a power user, you're an expert in SQL. Okay. Same thing with data visualization and storytelling for Power BI. You mentioned ETL, you mentioned data modeling, you mentioned DAX, data analysis expression. You mentioned tabular editor, DAX Studio. Those people who have used these 2 add-ons, they're definitely advanced users. Okay. Any question? No question? Okay. So then it comes down to.
Yeah, I would have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Shoot.
What kind of project would you suggest to, like,
I'm getting
when
there.
you're mentioning like which part of the 50%?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay, thank you.
So these are skills. Remember what I said? Skills, you just have to learn the skill or apply the skills in context, right? So projects are the best, for you. The project is your best friend to give people that context. Okay, remember some of you are experienced professionals, so you must have had some work experience behind you, right? And some others, your recent grads, you have nothing in this area, and everything you have is project experience. So make sure your project experience is solid, right? So if you have any experience, of course, that's better than the real work experience, better than project experience. But if you don't have, or if you don't have the relevant work experience, then you will need project experience to enhance your resume so you look more competitive. Okay. So how you write experience, even the past experience, you don't write everything. Some of you probably have like 10 years experience. If it's not that irrelevant, then you probably they're not worth a bigger space. You can just put 2 bullets, right? Or maybe just 1 bullet, or maybe no bullets. Yeah, seriously. So if you work 5 years, but it's in a complete different field and different area, then you just mention the job and your title and from and to, and that's it. That's it. And save the valuable space for project experience. Okay. Yeah. So for this individual, her work experience is actually with Wikidata. So Beam Data is part of Wikidata. And her case, she didn't have the highly relevant experience. So she did the bootcamp and she also did the real-time project. Okay, so the bootcamp gives her the skills and the portfolio project experience, and the real-time project, gave her the work experience. So as you can tell, Beam Data is actually the consulting arm of Weka-Data. So every student in the real-time project, they can use Beam Data as the company they work for. But we'll make sure this is not a paid job. It's a BA consultant trainee, okay? And when people ask, we'll tell them during the reference, it's not a paid job, but it's real work. It's consulting work, and we have a real client. We do a weekly client meeting, and the students deliver the work that has a real impact on the client's business, right? So in this case, you can actually mention the client. So in her case, the first client is the Global Mail. So that's a real client. And then you could mention the technology stack. So Snowflake, Tableau, and then just one line, tell people what the project is, create editorial usage dashboard for editors to measure success. That is, which columns, which articles drive subscription and advertisement revenue. And I think everybody understands this sentence. Okay, question from Nicholas. What are the ways to find unpaid jobs? Yeah, this is the way, and this is the way, but it costs some money, right? So usually consulting work or co-op or internship, you actually get paid. In this case, you pay us. This is part of the tuition, but we put you to work on real project for real client, and we provide the reference. So that really, really helps the students to get interviews, okay? If you want, we can go through maybe one bullet together. So the best way to make this project look complex and big, so your accomplishment is impressive, the best way is to make it look hard. It's complex, it's hard, it's not easy. And you also use numbers. So in this case, perform EDA, exploratory data analysis on large data sets of 190 million records. So this is big, it's big data, right? The same thing over here, you see build collections queries to retrieve 10 years of data. And over here, you see analyze 5 gigabytes of data. So you just have to use numbers and dollars and percentages, and sometimes compare and contrast to show people the impact of your work on the business. Okay, so it's quite a skill, but we'll teach you. And more importantly, we'll help you convert your bootcamp and real-time project experience into the bullet points you put on the resume, and also stories you can tell the employer during the interview. Okay, and project experience. In fact, let's just give you the initial impression. So you notice it's interesting. So Zoe has a 1-page resume, but this PDF is actually 2-page because the second page is portfolio sample. So what if the employer doesn't click on this name? Then at least they will have a chance to look at the second page, even for 5 seconds, 10 seconds. You don't have to spend that long time on the second page, but that short time you glance at the second page is extremely powerful. So most people, when they look at this, will say, wow, this is impressive. This looks neat, simple, but I still like the consistency of the color theme and the design, the layout, right? Once again, you present yourself as a good combination of business and data communication, or maybe design, business, data, design, communication. And this looks complex, definitely. This looks complex. This is industry grade dashboard we produce. And also, community solar, this is energy. Megastore is the retail. Google Merchandise Store, another retail. So she's actually targeting retail e-commerce industry. Any question? Question? No question? Okay, so I tell you, this is a good approach. One-page resume, but make it a two-page PDF because the second page is going to be portfolio sample. And that 10 seconds people spend on that will give you the credibility of the statement you make on the first page. The first page, you're trying to say, I'm technical, I'm capable, you know, I will be successful in my role. And then the second page proves all the point you made. So it gives you that credibility, right? It is a good indicator that you will be successful in your role. Question? No? No question? So real quick, if you want to take a look at the portfolio, let me see. So this is a portfolio you look at. So this looks like a real website, Zoe versus data silos. Zoe versus data silo, Notion.site. So this is about and then you can go to portfolio. It doesn't have to be that complicated. So several project, 6 project. So this is Megastore. And several sections, overview. It's like a article you read on Medium. Overview, building data pipeline, defining KPI, developing dashboards and credit. Yeah, so you show people your data modeling skill. And this is probably the data set. Oh, this is actually the data model you create. And this is the schema of the source database. And then you define and you show people some of the KPI. And this is a very specific term, organic growth. And then you develop the dashboard. So this is just one page. And this is a cursor you can, it's like a slide you can play, right? And other students, they build fancier portfolio. And the good thing about Notion is every single page you write is already a web page. You don't need to learn web development to create this portfolio website. Any question? No question. All right. I can show you another example of the portfolio. So I created this as a template. Once again, using Notion. Okay. So in fact, I can publish this. I can publish this like a very quick view site. I will go to. So this looks like a website. So this is a website. This is the first page. It gives all the link. If I go to about, this is about me. My name is Eric Bill. I'm a lucky guy. Background, trades, skill. And then I can go to now what I am up to. And I blog. So I wrote this many articles. Right. And I can go to portfolio. This is very similar to Joey. And maybe I go to retail e-commerce. See? So I can embed a video. You can play the video. I build it. Just real quick. Just to show you a little bit on different page. This looks simple, but it's not. You see, there's so much you can do. A different level of granularity, and also different dimensions. And you can also compare month over month, year over year. The time intelligence is extremely powerful. You can show multiple comparisons. And there are a bunch of other slicers you can use to slice and dice. Yeah. So let's look at one more page. So there's a little bit of AI within Power BI. So you can grow this tree left to right. So this is called, I think, decomposition tree. So this is a scatter plot to show you the full quadrant, because you want to achieve high sales, high profit. So you can actually play animation over here. It's amazing, this dashboard actually includes a lot of things. So this is the market basket analysis. It actually works in conjunction with Python. You see, if you bought A, the company will recommend B if the confidence on the correlation is high. So there is a little bit of machine learning over here. It's amazing how practical it is. Okay, so this is reseller analysis. I think that's enough. That's enough. So this is something within the portfolio. You go down. Once again, you have the ERD, entity relationship diagram. Yeah, so you can use this template to build a portfolio. And this is the easiest way. And of course, you can still use GitHub. All right, so I have 3 minutes left till 1:30. Any questions before we finish? You can just unmute yourself and ask if you have any question. No question? No question, and I think that's all. I hope to talk to or to meet some of you again. But if you feel the need to speak to me, you could always send an email to me. Maybe let me just give you my email address. 1 second, let me just save this. All right. So this is my Waypal data email address, my calendar. You can use that to book me for a session. It's free consultation. We can talk about your career, what's your next move, how to strategize your next move. And this is my LinkedIn, so we can connect on LinkedIn professionally. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. And that's it.
Well, thank you for your presentation. It's been very insightful.
Thank you. Thank you. And everybody, have yourself a pleasant weekend.